Alright, I think I just disappeared and came back. My bad. That was weird. I went and changed the... It says I'm live, but now it only says I'm live for 24 seconds. So, but my OBS says that I've been live for 5 minutes. So, all right. Well, I'm very confused. But all right, we're going to look at Args and Kwargs. Let's comment out everything. Control 1. So let's just say we're going to be totaling something. This is a perfect example of what we can do here. Hey, Nico. All right, so def total, and then just to get away so we don't confuse args and kwargs and get hung up on the terms args and kwargs, and we're actually just gonna well, I don't know if we'll do. You'll kind of get the idea about what args and kwargs are. So we're just gonna do nums. So we're gonna total. We're gonna set to 0. Then and for I in here, let's look at this first. Nums. And then print I. Whoa, when did that get added? Okay, so this right here is a feature to help you track your variables so you're not having cluttered code. So it's like, hey, you declared it, assigned it, but you're not doing anything with it. I guess the first time I saw this was when I was using VS Code, Visual Studio. Sorry, I know those are two separate things. So now let's call total. So total, don't know if I have everything else but F9. So then I go total, and I start passing in 3, 4, 2, 0, and 5. It's all right. I'm just printing this out. So then if I were to go here and continue back and get 10, 15, and 7. So this is still an args. This is, I don't know. I like to call infinite arguments. Args, infinite arguments. So because, oh, this is, okay. All right. Let's do this. Because looking under the hood, I don't know, has anybody ever heard that term to understand what's going on? So let's print out nums. So check this out. Does anybody know what an args? Watch this. So it converts it into a tuple for us in the background. So it takes this in because it says, hey, we need to make this capable of being infinite number of things. And then Python goes, okay, cool. I'm going to turn this into a tuple, and then I'm going to iterate whatever you want me to do to it. So then we're going to iterate, because strings, arrays, so an array, you can break that up into buckets of tuples, and then lists. So can you go through it? Can you go step by step? So if you can move step by step through something, it is an iterable. That is the most important fact about Python objects that you really need to wrap your head around. So, all right. So here we are. And now, let's comment this out. So then if I were to, so now we can do some incrementing or decrementing, however. Then we go total, and then increment by I. You know what? Let's be more accurate with our variables. So our args, our bucket of infinite, is nums. So plural. So let's do for our temporary variable num, so we can kind of track it through here. Okay, that's I guess I was thinking key value, but with a W, double V. But yeah, keyword arguments. Why not? I was wondering what IDE you are using. Can you please tell me? This right here is just Spider, loading it in through Anaconda. All right. So now I increment by num, and then when I get done, I'm going to print total. So commented out our print nums. I'm iterating through our args. I'm incrementing our num to our total, and then at the end, I'm printing out our total. So F9. And then let's go here, and boom, here we are, 46. And this is a perfect example of args. Kwargs would just be the same thing, where we're passing in key values, or a unbelievably large dictionary. Does everybody understand what a dictionary is? And actually, dictionaries are very powerful, so they can become very complicated very, very quickly. I did a whole series on this for Code Dam, and I believe I came up with 3 different ways to create a dictionary. All right, so woohoo, a lot of stuff. Key value, bingo. So an association, mapping, key value. So this is yes. So think about it more. And then it's is it hashable? I get stuck with here we go. Kwargs right here, initialized with the value. So this, look really close at this. So here's a perfect example. And the way that you can search and control and iterate through, we're just going to make, let's see. And also, don't be afraid of thinking about, because you're going to have like a JSON object. Perfect example. A lot of information gets passed back and forth with JSON objects. But if you're a Python person, those aren't scary, because you are comfortable with dictionaries and key value pairs. But we need to look at this for a second. Keys, items, and values. So this is super important. Of course, keys get you a list of let's see, me, dictionary name, Sam, age, my goodness, age 47. Close this out. What? Hang on. Have I completely forgotten how to create a dictionary? Well, that's a little mortifying. Okay, what is it? Okay, what am I missing? Because what I was going to do is we were going to unpack items. So, and that's actually the term that I was going to want to do, because items get you tuples of the key and value, and that's where you can. Let's just look at this real fast. Bingo. This is what I want to. Does everybody understand what this line here is with unpacking? Because this can be very complicated and it can be very powerful all at the same time. All right. So let me get a dictionary then from somewhere, since apparently I can't remember how to. Hang on. 2000 dictionary fruit. No, that one's awful. That's not a good example. Yeah, because I mean you can even zip. That's my favorite one. Yeah. Let's do this. This is one of my favorites. Let's undo this. All right. Check this out. Well, here we go. Hang on. Yep. Am I orange yet? I feel orange. There we go. Okay. All right. Anybody ever seen string, the string module? So check this out. I talked about as keys for a minute. So what I did is letters. So check this out. This is so cool. So I grabbed all the ASCII lower letters. So A, B, C through Z. You're turning a bit yellow and green, but not your front. Your back is. My back is turning green. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Let's do that. Nope, super orange. Oh, and it's pixelating in the back. Let's see. There we go. Wonder if more or less light. And there we go. Okay. Less light. All right. Just looking at OBS. Sorry. Okay. Now, zip links these two together. I absolutely love. So think about two sides of a zipper. So we have num. It's going to then zip 1, 2. Well, let's see. I have letters first. And then, so then when I call key, letters is the key, num is the value. So let's kind of go through this a little bit. Hey, Unfinished. Glad you're here. So we're working on Args and Kwargs, but we're delving into dictionaries a little bit more. We did Args first, and then we're going to look at Kwargs, but I've already forgotten how to create a dictionary, so we're going and grabbing some old code. But there are numerous ways to create a dictionary. But here's my favorite. So the zip function. Help. Yes, because as the number integer increments, you get joined to the letter and the ASCII and forms a dictionary of these pair. So yeah, let's look at zip. So it's going to create a zip object, and then I'm wrapping it and converting it to a dictionary. So here we go. And you can pass in, the only requirement for zip is they have to be all the same length. Oh, Nico's got jokes. Okay, that's funny. Okay, that's actually kind of funny. All right, so as you can see here in their example, and it has to be an iterable. And look, takes in args iterables, and moves through. So, actually, I thought zip would break, but it can handle. Oh, I thought it threw an error. I wonder if this is an update with 3.8. Maybe I got spoiled. All right. So pass in A through G, which is 7, then range of 3, range of 4. It's going to go to the minimum. So as it goes through, but in our example, so let's look more at key. And then let's look at dir of key, of what it can do. So I want to talk about items, keys, and values. So key dot, is it keys? Yes. It's a method dot. So I'm going to get an object back, and it is then, let's see, I think it's a dictionary key if I remember, because I think I had to do this in pandas. Yes, it's a dictionary keys object, because I ran into this and had all kinds of problems with one of my pandas workflows. All right. So now let's say I needed to look at, and I just wanted the values. I didn't care. Key dot values, and helps if you use your, there we go. And then same thing. Let's do type dictionary values. Now here's my favorite, and we can look at unpacking here for a minute. We have key dot items, if I can spell items correctly. Now, boom. I want you to look really, 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 really close. So we had our letters. That was a string. We had our num. And then, will it fit? Kind of. So, almost. Yes, it all fits right there. Okay, cool. So, our keys, our value, and then right here as the items. So this gets output. Now this is so cool. All right. So check this out. What does the pandas modules do? That's a good question. Think about a database. We'll spend a minute or two on this. Pandas is the ability to handle basically an entire database table or a results table. It's just rows and columns. You can bring in an entire database table. You can bring in an entire spreadsheet. Hey Dax, how are you? Bring in an entire spreadsheet or stream if they're too large. If they start to get to be, 5 million rows, you can actually stream the data in. So it is a very powerful data tool, and the language with it, the syntax. Let me say that. So it's a Python package that then you can do data conversion. I used that to build my stock screener, and that was probably one of the biggest projects that I did personally, and went from there. So summing rows, sorting, doing calculations, grouping, all of the things you can do with SQL. It put it in a Python environment. All right. So what I really want to do is I want to go through this for a second. So then if we print, let's get this up here. If we print key, we have this. Haha, okay. So see how this is a little bit different? So now what I want to do is I want to draw your attention to, let's comment this out. For I in key dot values print I. Sorry, let's get this. Let's do pairs. Change I to pairs. F9. So it's like, wait a minute, what is this doing? Okay, because, oh, I did items instead of, there we go. F9. Okay, now cool. So because, and just if you think about it, just bear with me. So all right, because it's in between the commas, because I'm passing in one temporary variable. So it's the items between the commas, because that's just iterating through. Now, watch this. Key value. This is when I became obsessed with Python. Key value. So now, in between the commas, there was an item, and the item happened to be a tuple. And we can actually go back and wrap around here and do type of pairs, and we'll get a tuple back. But now, this is completely legal. Let's see, is pairs still sitting in here? Yeah, okay. So, you remember how we did unpacking yesterday? Key value equals pairs. Does anybody think that this is a legal statement or not? All right, this is completely legal, because this object has stuff in it. And Python goes, all right, you apparently know what you're talking about, because this thing, this object, I can go and look here, and I can see that it is an object which has contents of other objects, and you seem to know what you're talking about. So this is a completely legal statement. So K and V. So it comes in here and unpacks this, and then assigns these, and they are in this order. So it's basically the equivalent of unzipping. Also, you hear unpacking. You have packing, and unpacking. So if I were to pack it into another object and do this in reverse, so let's do this. So we have K, V, new pair. Let's say something was wrong, and somebody upstream with your data reversed these, and you needed to do it backwards. So this is I mean, it could happen. Let's say you don't have access to that file or something. So value and key. All right, did I do that in reverse? So new pair. Boom, boom. So now I just flipped this completely around, because this is unpacking and this is packing. Completely legal to do. Also, let's look at this another way. There are not, to my knowledge, unless something has changed, Python is still the only language that you can do what I'm about to do. So we have K V equals V, comma, K. and you did this on one line. You didn't have to create a temporary variable, because Python does everything, does every action operation on the right side of the equal sign, the assigning sign, and then assigns that information back here, not caring if it happens to be the same variables or moving it around. So now when I call K and V, they are now reassigned. And the last time I read about this, it's been years, but every other language you have to do this with a temporary variable. And Python's the only one that you can do this on one line and not need new variables. So, all right, let's see. Let's see. Am I yellow yet? Heading there. I don't know. The time that I would normally be changing this and experimenting, because I have to do it with the lighting, and I know I probably need to get a new light, an additional light, because I've gotten one of the larger ones, but it's too small, and I know it drives my son nuts that I don't have it. All right, let's see. Do I know any other languages other than Python? Yes, I learned SQL, and then I learned VB.NET. So Python got me my last job. And what was so funny is I was honest. I said, hey, I'd love this opportunity, but I know Python. That's all I know is I don't. He goes, do you know some SQL? I said, I know some SQL. Well, I didn't write one thing of Python for the first year. So I got into the job, and all I did was had to learn SQL, write SQL, wrote some pretty important SQL for Walmart, and then after that, then it was like, hey, you're doing really good, because I wrote SQL with one project manager for a while. Then I got moved over to another project manager who was the rapid applications and development. Took on that responsibility, and then I trained my replacement. So I was teaching SQL 6 months after I had just learned it. So I got to reinforce it, and I got quite a few SQL books. And then after I was doing the SQL and the back end for the applications we were doing, I worked for Walmart. Worked there for 23 years. Friday was my last day. And I worked as a data analyst for the last 2.5 years of that. So kind of more like at the end of it, wasn't so much a data analyst. That was just my technical position. But I was doing more design, architecture, database management, database design, all those things. Working on an application, tell us the secrets of why they use fake security cameras sometimes. I have no idea. I was only in the store. For 5 months 20 years ago. So then I moved to the distribution center where all the stuff comes in, and that's a crazy job right there. The mass, just the sheer mass of inventory that comes through in one of the buildings, and there are hundreds of buildings. So, and that was actually the last team I was on. Is we were part of a program to increase the quality of product that was coming into the building. And what's shocking is not just the quality of the product, but just the quality of the packaging. How much time and energy is spent trying to figure out what it is, make sure everything matches. Receiving, I don't know if anybody's ever had a job that worked that took in inventory or took in anything. I did it with my parents when I was a kid, and that was a pain. And all I did was help with was the nuts and bolts. So when I went and I started seeing all this inventory coming in, matching purchase orders up with types of product, making sure the quantities are all right, because the purchase order is an agreement, is a legally binding agreement of that we're saying we received everything that we ordered, and yeah, it's a mess. It is an absolute mess of how much stuff we think we get, how much the suppliers send. Yeah. It was getting way out of hand, and that was why this program was designed to improve the quality of the things coming into the network. So, all right, let's see. That is awesome, Nico. That is very cool. I don't know Node.js, JavaScript, and a bit of Java. But is that LUA? I do not know LUA. Let's see. LUA. What is that? High level. What do you use it for? Relatively some C application. C. Okay. Very cool. That is extremely cool. All right. So we got into the weeds about Walmart. Yeah, and I've been applying like crazy. That's actually so typically after I do the live stream, I go on and I look for roles that I think I would be a good fit, and then I spend a few hours a day applying for jobs and going from there. But all right, let's see. Key value pairs. I'm trying to think of everything else. Oh, we didn't run this yet after we unpacked this. Bingo. So now this is what I absolutely love. So right now, because before we had this and we had our pairs, and just the appearance of all of this is you never know what you're gonna. So right now, so last key. Oh, here's a great question, and this took me a while to wrap my head around. Why does this work? So right here, when I typed in key and value, I got Z and I got 26. Anybody have any thoughts of what is that doing? Why is that doing that? Why does it have any information still in memory? Anybody have any thoughts? Comments? All right, let me make sure nobody's on Discord that I haven't missed. Okay, cool. I don't think I'm missing any text today. All right. Don't know. All right. That's cool. And I call this, you don't think about it till you think about it. The reason why is because this is the last run. So it's right here. So in memory, if I didn't show you this, you can just run dir. And what's going to happen is dir is going to spit out. If you don't pass in any argument into dir, you're going to get everything that is still in memory and all the variables that are still sitting in there. So here's a bunch of stuff that still has our guess, still has string, total, triangle, V. I got V somewhere. Oh yeah. So yeah. What? I had V and K, right? So I reassigned these. So this is the last call in. Let's come all the way back up here, see if it's still here. This was our last call on key and value as it was unpacking items. So when I recall it, it just goes, yeah, I remember what that was. And at the time, the last one was this right here. All right. And we go from there. All right. I don't know how to... Nico, I don't know if I'm going to do... Because I don't know if I'm going to do the scheduling of the live stream again, because it seems like I lose a little bit of functionality control on the scheduling, because I cannot make the actual video, I can't make it live in the studio. That is so weird. There's still a lot of things I don't get. All right, doesn't make any sense. And then also, the calculations have gotten weird yet again for my live streams. And it had that I had 3 of them published the same day. It doesn't make any sense. Was that yesterday's? And the amount of watch time is absolutely all over the place. All right. Oh my gosh. I must have frustrated somebody yesterday, because they came into the live stream and then unsubscribed. I don't know. That's funny to me. Okay. Let's see. So what else do we want to talk about? Jathan? No, I have not done any of that, because I think I've said that I don't think I would have a use case for it, and I tend to only, because I don't want to phone it in. I don't want to go through the motions of having something that I don't enjoy talking about, and because it just doesn't translate, and I need to make sure. Dot. Did you mean to do ... Was that just a placeholder? All right. So no, I have not done a video on that, because I don't have any use for Java or JavaScript, because I should probably want to, because there are a lot of data science roles that want you to have Java and JavaScript, so it may become vital if it was a reaction to that guy. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That's weird. Sometimes, and most of the comments that I get are extremely supportive. So I'm always very appreciative of that, and everyone being here today. I know it's a Friday and everybody's busy and trying to finish up the week, and everybody's here. So all right, so we've looked at key and value, and we're going through, and so this technique right here of creating this dictionary. So let's just go through, because again, when you begin to understand these practices right here, it makes your world a lot easier. So there are, because right here, that would make a zip object. So let's look at this. No, that's just letters. Yeah, it's letters. And then so when I zip this in, and it's letters first, then and it's letters. I even said it out loud. There we go. So I create a zip object, just like this. So I would need to go and unpack this or go through it. But since I have a zip object, see, I could also put this into a list. Let's do this. List. And then over here. What? End. Just like that. But don't forget that when you zip, it's creating it into a tuple. That is needing to understand how what you get in return. That's vital. And don't be afraid of help, dir, and type, because there's going to be plenty of times where you're going to think you have one type of object. I mean, the community of the programming languages. Sorry, let me expand upon that. I'm not sure what you mean, Nico. So, but don't forget, because you're going to have an issue where you're going to probably do some sort of calculation, and I'm sure you've seen something like this, where you get the operand error. Is that what it's going to say? Okay, so this is actually something important, and the order of the prop can only concatenate strings, not int to string. So whatever is first, it's going to try to look at. This is actually test something else. So when you have this right here, the string is first, and Python goes, okay, you're going to concatenate, and then you're like, boom, integer. And it's like, no, that can't work. So if we do this in reverse, check this out, because you're going to get a different message. This is what I was thinking. Unsupported operand type S, int, and string. So whatever is first, it's going to try to do that operation. So see how same information, the order. I cannot express this enough. Order of operations for everything about programming is vital. Is absolutely vital in everything that you do. Understanding how's the way that you can do this in a pattern that would work for all situations. And then you go, except for an outlier, except for a edge case. That is a great way to think about what programming is. So we're defending, or we're trying to do this, and it goes, okay, I'm going to attempt to take an integer and add something else to it, and it throws up because you were doing addition with a string. So then you get the unsupported. So let's say this is a variable as you're going through, and you're like, why is this? That's perfect. That is a great solution. But let's say you're getting this and your script is throwing up and you're getting a type error, and you're like, why am I getting a type error? But you don't actually see this here. Digit equals 1 and letter equals G. So here's the concept that I'm trying to express without actually saying it. Now, so we're sitting here and you're like, why is this doing this? Why is this doing this? So in the middle of your program, you're going to, now granted, we know we called it letter, but you're going to want to do this, or you're going to put a break, or you're going to stop the code, and you're going to be like, oh, that's why I'm getting a string and I'm expecting this to be an integer. So you're going to run into this. You're going to have this. And don't be afraid to throw a type in between your debugging, in your debugging process, and know where to put it and know how to handle it. So then you'd be like, all right, so as I'm doing this calculation, I need to come up here and I need to make this a string. And then then everything works and everything is happy and everything is hunky-dory. This is what you're going to run across, and how it's like, where is this breaking? How is it breaking? Why is it breaking? Those questions are vital, because the last day I was getting so frustrated. On my last day, I was getting so frustrated because stuff was breaking everywhere. And I had two workflows, and it was dying somewhere in the middle. And I was trying to solve both of them at the same time, which is stupid. So I began to isolate. So I had 2 workflows open and 4 spreadsheets. I might as well just, well, that's, I was trying to swim while holding a boulder. It was dumb. So I closed out everything, opened up one workflow, saw where it was failing. So I had 2 workflows. I had two Python scripts. I had an if and an else. Inside, let's talk about pandas for a second. So you have pandas data frames and pandas series. So a series, when we were passing in one of something, because we were basically taking an Args from the user. And the way that pandas was handling it, if a single was being passed in, everything got turned into a pandas series. And I needed to unpack that in one version. Then, if it was more than one, it was being turned into a pandas data frame, and I was needing to unpack it in a different technique. So, I had 4 tests. All were failing. You like to play Minecraft, and I really want to make things in Minecraft with Python, and I tried to install Jthon, but for some reason it failed. Question: what are you using to use Python? I'm going to guess if it failed, it's probably Visual Studio, or is it Notebook? Because I would have to guess it's probably one of those. Have you seen any of my videos of pip install and how to handle that? Because if you install it, it'll go exactly where it's supposed to. Even Anaconda. Right. But how are you using, what application are you using to write your Python? Are you using the idle? Which I doubt you are. And how did you try to install Jthon? Did you use pip or did you use something else? Yeah, it's a module. Let me double check. But I'm pretty sure it's just I don't believe it's not an entire language because it's still supported. So Jthon. Yeah, Jthon, blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's Python with for Java integration, right? And let's see, download Jthon installer. Where did you go? Did you go to jthon.org and download? Let me go back over to where you are. Oops, it's not where you are. Let's see. I installed the program from a website. And did I get a virus? Did you go here? Is that where you went? Because, yeah, if you're going to do, I guess maybe it is a whole, and then you can go to, okay, so then I'm going to go to view on GitHub. So maybe it is just an entire... Oh, this looks just like Java. Import org.python.util.python interpreter. Then yeah, this is just Java stuff. Public class, public static. All right. Yeah, no, I haven't had any use case for this. So okay. So you want to make stuff and make plugins for Minecraft. That would be absolutely awesome. But I'm trying to remember Python and Minecraft. There's a Minecraft Python API. Have you looked for that? Do you guys know what an API is? Correct. I mean, but you'd have to look into... Let me look at this API here. I don't know. You may have a better... Here's a Minecraft Pi Edition API Python library. Found that on GitHub. So that may be one you want to try to look at first, because you want to be really careful trying to take on too much learning all at one time, because you're going to be trying to solve all these problems. Oh man, the light's starting to come through the window. That's what I was worried about. The sun is changing its how bad is that? All right, close that a little bit. Okay. All right. If you want to have non-Minecraft things in Minecraft, you normally have to install files. On everyone that has joined the PC, I'm trying to make a server that uses nothing, only you have to join. Okay, I can see that argument. It would be a lot easier if I could use Python instead of script or commands. Yeah, I completely see that argument, and I completely understand where you're coming from on that. Yes, you want to do it on the, because right now you're talking about client side versus server side, and yes, you want to try to have everything on server side as much as possible, because you can control it. Because if you let it be on client side, then they're going to be able to adjust and basically hack and change environments. So 100%, I think your technique of making sure it's all done on the server side is the best practices, because you'll have control over, and because if you have a file that you have uploaded on everybody's PC, then they could go and edit that file, and they could have more control, or they could find a loophole or a weakness in what's happening, or they could give themselves more advantages. So yes, I completely agree. You want to handle that on the server side. All right. So we have gone down a big rabbit hole. So, all right, we've been here about an hour. What else do we want to talk about now? We have a few folks in here. So see right now, it says one part of the stream says there's 6 concurrent. Another piece of the dashboard says we have 6 and 4. At the top it says 4. Down at the bottom we have 6, and it says chat rate 1. Don't know what chat rate 1 is. Let's see. Use the Kwargs in a function. Okay. Let's do some Kwargs stuff. Kwargs. Did I kill my mic or my speakers? Let's see. Let's give it a good example of that's garbage. I don't like that example. Let's see. All right. Def. Trying to think of students' names. No, I'm trying to think of all the examples because you have classes, actual like students in classes. All right. Args and Kwargs. All right. I found something I had deep down somewhere. All right, so let's check this out. Let's see how yellow I am yet. Not yellow yet. All right. And live stream, boom. Okay, so come in here. So what am I doing? Let's do Python basics F9. So what in the world am I doing right here? So I created a function that takes in unlimited contents inside a dictionary. We do not know how big it is. Doesn't matter how big it is. And then there's actually the one that got me the craziest, and I'll have to go back and find my example. But it's splat. That's a good one. Hang on, let me make a note somewhere. It's a way to get everything to let's see. Let me see if I can find the video first so I don't forget. Splat. Splat unpacking, iter splat trick. Gosh, those are forever. So you can, yeah. So, all right. Now I won't forget. Let's go back through here. But it's a way to unpack a little bit and then splat out the rest. So let's go through this. So it created a concatenation function. So I make a blank, an empty string. Does everybody know? Is there anybody who doesn't know what this empty string is? So I'm basically creating an empty list. Hey, the shadow stream from yesterday seems to be broken from your setting up the schedule. Check Discord. Okay. Let's see. Shadow stream is broken. Interesting. That is so weird. And then Okay. I wonder if YouTube just have it, because it seems like they're putting out some more stuff, some more features and functionality with live streams, and it seems to be causing some sort of issues. Because I don't have a live button on this stream to get the feed to pop back up, so there seems to be a delay, like always. But then I could usually hit the live button and it would get it caught back up. All right, I may need to get up in a minute and grab another a water. Okay. All right. So again, let's go through this. So unlimited content, don't know how much I'm gonna have, and right here, key value. But then what it goes is it pulls in. Don't get hung up on it's. Why can't I? Well, that's annoying. Let's see if I can. This is the indicator of saying to Python, hey, I'm going to be passing in a dictionary, but I don't know how big this is going to be. This is how you handle unlimited. So then I'm going through here, because typically in our normal environment when we're programming, we know exactly what we're going to take in. We're going to take in 4 arguments and blah, 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 blah. And we're going to do this and this and this to it. And we may even have some instructions. Does everybody know how to make a doc string in a function that you create? Have you guys seen that? Because it's the equivalent of this. So when I do print, this is my doc string inside the print statement. And let's look and see how in the world this is being done. Print. So right here, if we look really, really close, this is everything that is there in the doc string. So let's come up here. Da, 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 da. Let's see. While true, A equals input, $, execute A. Is that what you'd put as your doc string? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Why is my, there we go. Enter a dictionary to be concatenated. All right. So let's run this. I don't know if you guys just heard my stomach. But all right. So if I do concat, let's see if I concatenate. Boom. So now, this is my, if you put it in an interpreter, then it will change the prefix. If you put that in an interpreter, then it will change the prefix. If I put that line while true, input $, execute A, it will change the prefix. Is that what you're, I'm sorry. But what I want to do is you when you create a function inside whatever you're doing, you can pass on more information to the user of how it works, what it's doing, what they need to know, and you can convey extra information right here. So that can be very, very powerful. But if you look really close, it's just very similar, just acts a little bit different. But that is our multi-line string for our doc string. So, all right, let's see. Let me see if I can find Splat, because Splat is very cool. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it pretty quickly. 2002. Wow. Let's see. 2000. Let me see if Splat's here. Splat. That's all I had for Splat. What did I do? Let's see. Splat. That was in 2000. Editor. And I cannot see anymore. Let's see. All right. Close. Let's bring this in. Copy. Let's see how this works. Haven't done this in a long time, so bear with me. Let's see. All right. F9. So okay, X. If I remember, so A, B, C, and then star dot D equals X. Yep. Okay. So check this out. So A, B, C. So it was 1, 2, 3, and then I splatted this to D, right? So check out what happens on D. It is the remainder of the list. I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, that is bananas. So you're going to just keep this in the back of your head, because what I'm going to find funny is probably there's going to be a use case. Whenever I run across stuff like this and I do something, I'm going to probably have to need to use this for a reason. So this is unbelievably very interesting, but this is completely legal because I'm completely unpacking and splatting this out. Don't know where the term splat came from, but I'm unpacking. So X was a list. I'm beginning to unpack these, but I don't care about the rest of this. So basically I could, here's a great example. So if I were to have a list of everybody's times in the Olympics, here's a perfect example. So I want first place, second place, third place, and then just dump everybody else into this bucket right here. This technique would work perfectly. Those are those things that you end up, how would you solve this? How would you solve it with your human brain first? And then what do I have as my tools in Python? And that's one thing that I think everybody, when you jump into and you start to try to solve it with whatever brain, Python brain, SQL, programming brain, if you try to solve it programming brain first, you're going to run into an issue. One of my old coworkers, I thought it was very cool. She would actually get her dry erase board. Oh, and if you don't utilize a dry erase board, you're making your life a lot more challenging than it needs to be. Get a dry erase board, sketch things out. How would I solve this? But she shared with me months ago that she literally, when she's working on a join it's just not happening, she'll get a Venn diagram out and she'll draw what she needs from each one. I was like, that's brilliant. That is really cool. And she would go about doing that, and it would make, and she's a much more elegant SQL writer than I am. And just very, very, she taught me a ton of things, because I would get stuff to work. I would solve the problem, but it would be some gnarly looking SQL. And then after I would get it to work, I would bounce it off her, and she'd be like, "Oh, this is how I would do it," and it would be so elegant, so clean, so crisp. But you have got to solve it in human brain first. because you're just going to go round and round and round and round. I had another coworker, younger guy, and that's important because just experience, and you cannot, the gap between experience and IQ, you have to get unbelievably huge gaps in IQ to begin to overcome experience and just regular problem solving chops of, oh, well, I've done that before, let me use this. I mean, it's the old, a carpenter and a programmer, there's really no difference between it. None. How do I attack this problem? How would I need to go about doing this? So, all right, let's see. All right, we're at about an hour and 15. So let's see, what else? What else do we want to look at? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm back looking at the splat. So check this out. I completely forgot this. And let's say you need to track who's in last place. So you care about the first three and the person in last place. So check this out. So if this doesn't fail, this is completely legal. So we have first, or we have gold, we have silver, we have bronze, and then we have last place. And then D is still everything in between. So check this out. Gold, silver, bronze, last. Everything else in this bucket in between. All right. Let's see. What other interesting things? What was this other one? Splat. There were 2 videos I made for Splat. That was, and then I made one in 2019. Okay. Wonder how close is it to the same thing. Iter Tools. Have you guys seen Iter Tools? That whole pack. I did a whole series on Iter Tools. Has anybody ever seen that? Import Iter Tools. So a lot of the things that you might need to handle, Iter Tools is probably already done it. No. You guys know about aliasing? Have you seen it here, or have you run across Iter Tools as? You guys know as? And or importing a specific item from a package. Hence the hint and emphasis on from. Everybody know how to do that? As Iter Tools. That's not that much shorter. So all right. So Iter Tools now is the module and it's built in. So when I done do on Iter Tools. All right. So I did a whole series on all of these. Let's see. What? Splat 2019. So I'd only been doing this. This is right before I hit 2 years. This original video. Let's see how bad this looks. Take while. Why did I title this Iter Splat Print? Oh, I was wanting to emphasize this. Okay. So we have X, then print X dot, or here. So there we go. So check this out. So instead of me needing to come up here and I want these all unpacked, you can do star dot splat, asterisk whichever word, and then splat it out and Python goes, oh, hey, I know what you mean. You want this, you want it all just spit out on the screen. And it can have its use cases. So because you just like, hey, I don't want everything to go down the page. So just like I had nums. So right here, F9. I didn't want num. Was it num or nums? Num. I didn't want num going down the page. Let's see if it'll all fit on print dot num. Almost, but printed it down here, and then if I wanted letters right here. So this is a really quick technique, so you don't have to go and let's bring this up here. There we go. Nico, how orange or yellow am I? Am I still doing good? All right, if Nico's still here. All right. Yeah, this is on this side. And then where do I have that? Oh, that's an awful looking video. That is so bad. All right. This can be very handy. Unpacking. I can't, because you're gonna have such large, when you start doing a project and you start to have so many large items, and the more complex they are, and especially if you do end up doing anything with pandas and you're needing to, it's so big, you're just going to take chunks out of it. You're not going to bring it all in, and then you're going to do things, and then you're going to write it to someplace else. So you're going to handle it as it moves through a pipeline, let's say. And that's typically what data engineers do. They don't handle everything all at once. They handle it in chunks and in pieces. But let's see. So import pandas as PD. You're going to see this a lot. And so this is an alias. So as you can see here, programmers don't want to type out pandas. It takes too long. So I'm going to do PD. Now, check this out. So I don't want to, let's do dir on PD. Now, I don't want to type all of this. So let's see. Read SQL. No, read Excel. Read CSV. So here's a perfect example of what you're going to do. From pandas, import read underscore CSV as CSV. All right, does everybody know that? Do you understand this? Because before we would have to do pd.read underscore CSV, boom. Or now I can just do CSV, same thing. So I've shortened everything that I have to do by aliasing it and explicitly from a module importing one thing. So you could do so you're saving memory, you're not importing a ton of things. You're like, hey, I really don't need the entire Python pandas package. Let me just go ahead and bring this in right now. I want to bring this in because I like how pandas handles a CSV file, and I want to be clean. I want to have something that just comes right in. I'm done with it. I write it, I read it, I write it, I put it up, and I'm done. So I was talking. We were somewhere, something, and how can as be used? It's used as an alias. So it's just a keyword that Python has set aside. So if we haven't talked about this, keywords in let's just go straight to the source so I don't misspeak. Keywords. So here are all the keywords that you cannot use that have a use in. You cannot use these in Python for anything other than these. Here's a list of Python keywords. Enter any keyword to get more help. So let's type in as. All right. That's a lot of stuff. As with statement. With statement is used as a wrap the execution in a block. Oh, we were gonna talk about context managers. We can go back and look at this. But then are you kidding me? This, I don't see anything. I thought it was going to do a comparison of keyword as, but the with statement. Is this complete? This is everything to do with a context manager. That's crazy. Somebody messed up somewhere. As points to the with keyword. I've never seen that before. That's, as my daughter would say, cuckoo bananas. Oh my God. So there is no documentation for as. Oh my God, that is so funny. All right. But as it is to shorten any package or function you want to bring in. So let's get out of here. So let's go back. Do I still have, can't remember if I dropped anything from memory. So I aliased itertools as ittools, and then it's like, hey, how do you want to call this? How do you want, you're importing this, how do you want to refer to it? So it's a reference. So it's like, hey, I'm renaming. If you want to think about it, I'm renaming it, but it's technically in Python world, Python brain, Python language, as is technically called an alias. So I'm aliasing pandas. Import pandas as PD. So I'm saying every time that I'm going to use PD, I'm going to be referencing pandas. And Python goes, got it. Because there are sometimes, itertools? So look at some of the stuff in itertools. Itools. So I've already aliased itools. Itertools is itools. But look at this. It'd be itertools with combinations with replacements. Holy moly. So I can iterate that as itertools dot cw. So import iter tools dot combinations with replacement as it CWR. And itertools is not a package. Okay. So that would need to be from itertools, import, let's see if I'm doing this right. Let's see what it does here. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Now, why in the world isn't this working? Itertools. Did I not have itertools in here? Itertools. Yeah. So import itertools combinations with replace. Aha. Combinations with replacement. Yep, because I can't type. It's typically my problem. So boom. So now I have, yep, exactly right. And that is almost always where most of my problems are. So now ITCWR, and I'm pretty sure people have been screaming at me for almost a decade now on YouTube that I'm not spelling. Please don't ever quote any of my spelling for any use. But yeah, so right now, as I aliased all of this to right here, and Python goes, gotcha. So when I called this, itertools and this function inside of this package is now referencing, is aliased to ITCWR. So there. All right. Thank you, Alex, for that confirmation. Hope you're doing well. Haven't seen. Have you been here before? Were you here yesterday, Alex? Oh, Alex, were you the one with the triangle? With the really, really cool triangle? Let's see. We got another new member joining the Discord, so that is fantastic. Let's see. All right. So we've covered Kwargs, we've covered Args, we've covered aliasing, we've covered from. Found out that inside of 3.8 there is a problem with the as keyword. It references with. Probably tomorrow we looked at splat, unpacking, reassigning. We've covered a lot of things today. So, all right. So I was thinking about being on here until 10 my time. So another 25 minutes. Is there anything anybody's interested in? Because I know we were looking, because last night I was laying down going to sleep and had this. Nico was asking if we had any defense. Let's see, do I have everything? Any defense against this right here and it would just be some extra variables that we would need to do to handle. This is your first time here watching while cooking? Awesome. What are you cooking? Because I am starving. After I get off, I'm going to make my eggs. Kwargs.get. The dictionary.get, that method. Okay. So probably as an exercise, I'm going to work on this. So generic keyword 11. So let's stick with 17. This is too low, too high, and correct. So we'll work. I'll actually work, and then maybe tomorrow. Argentine, very cool. So either we are in the same time zone, or you're one behind me. I think, if I can think geographically. So that is absolutely awesome. So what would you? Okay. You were making, what is that similar to? Is that a meaty dish, a rice dish. Gimme some sort of context. This is extremely cool. This is why I love. That's probably there's so many things I love about this YouTube channel, but having people from around the globe wanting to watch my streams. It's 11:39 there. Okay. So you're 2 hours ahead of me. Interesting. Well, now I got to look at a map. So that is coastal past eastern. Sorry, guys. I'm very... Let's see. Oh, my God. Yeah, that is... My geography is awful. Okay, yes. Because that is way into the Atlantic. Had somebody that moved back to Brazil the last week. And he was teaching me all kinds of stuff. But, okay, very south. How far south into Argentina are you? Because I knew, for some reason, I had it being up higher, closer to Brazil. And then my jiu-jitsu instructor, his mother is from Bolivia. So there we go. But I don't remember the words to describe it. That's absolutely fine. I barely speak English, so I hold everyone in extreme high esteem who is bilingual. So you will have you have all the support here for your use of English. And actually, while I have everybody here, please don't ever apologize for bad English. I type and speak bad English, and I don't even know 100% of a language. So anybody who's here who English is a second language, I commend you and I applaud you for being here and trying to follow my broken English. So somebody made a good point of how can you understand them? They speak broken English, and I'm like, I speak broken English. That's why I can understand them. So funny. That is a great way to put it. Python is a universal language. I could not agree more. That is a perfect way to put it. Python is a universal language. So, very cool. All right. Let's see. All right. He says, yeah. So, what's the temperature in Argentina right now? Because it is still like 1,000,000 degrees here where I am. So, because that's crazy. So, I'm looking right now. Because I'm in central continental United States. What is Jathan? Nico, you wanna jump in and handle what Jathan is? Or you want me to attempt? Basically, it's a language that you can go between Java and Python and vice versa. So it is. I guess I was thinking it was more of a module, but it is not. It's its own language. But to me, it looks exactly like. It looks exactly like Java. But I have so Python projects provide implementation of Python in Java, providing the benefits of running on basically a Java machine and access classes written in Java. The current release of Python 2.7x supports only Python 2. Ooh, that's not good. There is work towards Python 3 in the project's GitHub repository. All right. So, yeah, we talked a little bit about this on one of the last streams. Yeah, so you're way south, I think. So it's 25 degrees, so it's still winter there. That's crazy. That's what I think is so interesting about Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere and all of that. So that is so cool. Thank you, Alex. But yes, Nico is talking about that turns Python code into Java and vice versa. So you can, but you still have to, in my opinion, know much more Java. And VB.NET, I was beginning to wrap my head around that. Strings were okay. Arrays acted a little weird. Loops, I did not care for how Visual Basic handled loops. You had to have more of a starting point and more control over, but being able to unpack a results table, I absolutely completely loved and liked how VB.NET handled it, Visual Basic. So, all right. Let's see. Any other really good questions that we have right now? Let's see, because I'm getting very hungry, and then I have quite a few jobs that I need to apply for today. But I know tomorrow, maybe Sunday, I'm probably going to be trying to figure out a way to protect against this, because Nico challenged me to what would happen if they basically gave you the wrong answer. So if you got to 17 and then said it was too high or too low, it would basically get stuck in this loop because it takes the user's answer at face value. So it is moving. So if, like Alex, since you're first here, this is this guessing game utilizes bisectional search. So it is dropping all of the answers. How does the syntax change? Public static void main if EW. Public static, that's Java, right? Nico, you want to handle this Java question? So I'm not going to even try to pretend that I know Java. Never interested in it. It never interested me. Never want to do web development. I know there's a lot of benefit of being able to know Java, but it just hasn't intrigued me. Maybe at a later time. Yeah, that's Java. Yep. Thank you, Nico. Yeah, 100% Java. But back to right here. So we'd probably just need to have extra. So how I would do this is human brain is maybe last low. This is how I would track this. I would have extra pointers. You can make a class. You can make a class before the function, though. Because I know in VB.NET you have to declare a variable before you can anything do it. In Java, do you have to create a class before you can do anything? So then I'd be over here, and I'd create last high. So I'd create these extra variables. Oops. Need to put this here. Last low, bring that over. So this is how my human brain would do this. As I would move here, I would want to remember. I would have my two little sliding points. So a dynamic slider window / ish, things like that. And I would go about solving this. So then I'd be like, so wait a minute, you just told me this is my current low, but you just told me it was too high last time. So you gave me, and then you'd have to figure out Do I still have my image? Hang on. Have you guys seen? I know we have. Oh, we have some people dropping in. Okay, I may hang around then. So documents, dots. Let me see. Dots. Yeah. Is dots coming up? There we go. All right. Let's see if this is centered. Nico, am I yellow yet? Let me scoot to the wind. Let me scoot close to the screen. That's probably way too big for everybody. So, all right. Sorry with my big old melon. All right. So the reason I can't emphasize this enough. I can't speak to this enough, that figuring out a way to come down here and traverse these dots. How can I walk over all these dots in a uniform pattern? And that's it. It's because, have you guys seen the stadium seating exercise? Same thing. How does my human brain make a decision? It's like when you go through and you look at data and you're like, okay, I picked that one. Okay, well, all right. Break down how you decided that was the one. Oh, well, it's the highest one. Is that really the answer? Well, it's the highest one on this day. Oh, okay. So because one of my last exercises that I was trying to help this one business partner, super brilliant guy, knew this one system inside and out. And we were overturning charges. And he was saying the algorithm's wrong. And I'm like, no. It's doing exactly like you told us to do it. He goes, well, this shouldn't be in here. Okay, well, tell us why it shouldn't be in there. And we went from there, and I had to coax that out of him. So when you're doing these large projects and you're working with a business partner or a project manager, you have got to get them to explain to you how they are making these decisions in a human brain. Don't let them, because it gets very challenging if they know SQL and they're trying to help you, because they're straddling both those worlds, their business requirements, and they're like, oh, well, it's got the last scary thing that I heard was, oh, it just has duplicates. I just need to get rid of them. No. What? So you're just going to chop and get rid of all duplicates. Well, what happens if you're doing it too far downstream and you're getting rid of the bad and the good? Or a horrible scenario, what happens if you're getting rid of all the good and keeping all the bad? You don't know. You need to make sure what you're doing is what you need to be doing. And why are you doing it? So, all right. But I go back to these dots, and just a uniform pattern of I step forward, I turn right, I walk forward, I turn 180 degrees, I walk forward, I turn right. Then I've created a function, so I'm going to do this the same way every single time. I've come up with a pattern that is repeatable, that will do it every single way. And then if something comes up and I go, okay, I throw in a little if statement. Okay, so if there's one that's blocked, I can't go any further, so I turn back around. Okay, and then blah, 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 blah. So I had, let's see, more dots. Here's more dots. Let's see, is that in focus? Yep. All right, then I have more, okay, but it's the same functionality. I go forward, I turn right, I go down, 180 degrees, go back, turn right. And I'm back to square one. And it does, I don't care how many are here, and then I move over. So make sure you can come up with a pattern in human brain even before. So I'm sitting here and I'm coming up with my rules of how I would attack this in human brain way before I would even go and try to program this, because I have to have a solution in human brain first. That's the only way it's the only way I can. If you can jump in and start coding, more power to you. But in my experience, if you're on the newer level, you're going to run into a problem. And not only are you going to be trying to solve this inside human brain, you're going to be trying to solve this in programming brain too. So basically, if you think about that, you've created a new problem. Because if you haven't thought of all of your edge cases here, so you're going to write a program piece, a process, a function, and it's going to have a bug in it. Just let's be real. It's going to have a bug in it. So now you're trying to go, all right, is this actually doing what I want it to? Is it the bug or is it is it a bug or is it my process? So now you're trying to whack-a-mole. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that game, but I whack one thing and it pops up someplace else. I whack here, but then it pops up over here. I have not fixed it forever. It's just moving and changing. So I can't say that if you're new here, you've probably heard me say this the first time. If you've even been on 2 of these streams, you've heard me say this a ton. So write one line of code, write one elif, run it, make sure it happens the way that you expect to. Just like our edge, I mean, even with a positive number, there's an edge case of a 0. I mean, you don't think about it till you think about it. And your job, if you're being the architect of trying to solve this problem, is you need to think of everything by the end. But you need to get it to work first. So there we go. All right. I know that was a little bit of rambling, but this is my next thought exercise because I want to be able to have this example and be able to answer this because Nico had a very good point. What happens if they go, all right, it's still too high. So let's rerun this. Let's see. F9. So 1 to 20. Continue. All right, it is too low, too high. Now watch this. So then if I go too low, I get the same thing, too high, because my endpoints are at 16 and 18. My low point is at 16. My high point is at, let's just put it in here, low, backspace, high, backspace. So now every time that I pass in an answer, it loops back and does this calculation. And the only thing that we have left out of our high point and low point is our guess here of 17. There's no other way. So we have to introduce some other back check to do this. And human brain right now is saying that I need to have my last variable, my last guess as my last variable to see the difference. So don't know if that's going to work, but that's where human brain is going to go through and begin to check all these. So, all right, before we drop today, anything that anybody wants to ask or make sure that I cover tomorrow? All right. Going once, going twice. Is everybody here? Is everybody that's here? Is everybody on the Discord? Because that is a really good way to pass. Hang on. Let's see. Codes. Is it code snip? Code snippet. There we go. No. I'm trying to remember. Is it Snapify? Is that it? there's a way. I forget what the name is, but there's a way that you can create. You can drop in a bunch of code, huge code, and then you send the link to it, so nobody has to worry about passing on bad pieces of. Yeah. Hang on. It's a code file. I'm not a robot. Yeah. So codefile.io. So if you need to paste in a lot of, let's go back. Yeah, here we go. This isn't the one I was thinking about, but let's put it in the live stream. Just make cool things in Python. Okay. Well, what that is awesome, but what I'm really trying to get everybody to wrap their head around is when you're attempting to build cool things in Python, you end up running into problems like this, and how you're going to handle it. That's real life. One of my first big issues with our application that I had to overcome was what happens if the user accidentally leaves out department numbers. So I had to come up with a solution, human brain first, of how would I do that, because it was crashing the whole application. The whole flow was just throwing up, and it was just sitting there, and it killed everything else, because the way the application was designed is whenever the user form submitted a function, an entry, a request, a report request. Wow, perfect example of my poor English. It would write to our table, our query table. Then Dataiku would look at that, was pointing at that table and looking for any changes. And whenever that happened, then it would initiate. Well, in one of the flows for the departments, if they inadvertently click submit without any application or without any department numbers, I had to insert a file check to ensure that department numbers were selected. So if that field was null, what I did is I overwrote no selections made, so that then I placed a X in our column of report complete, so nothing would get run. It would kill the application, and then update our view for the user, so that then they were able to see and get some feedback. Oh crap, I forgot to input any department numbers, and then they would go and do it again. But those are the things that you're going to be much more proud of than a huge project, and that's what people are going to be more interested in, because the bigger the project, the more people that are going to be involved, and collaboration. Can you communicate? Can you listen? Can you prove in a discussion of validation that something is correct or is something incorrect? These are the things that are invaluable. So, all right, there we go. We are, I think I'm at 2 hours right now. We have a couple people on, but there's my ramblings, and then maybe over the weekend we can talk a little bit more about the things that I've done at Walmart and the things that I've solved, and the very large, complex queries that I've done, which I would have never thought I would have been able to do. But you start small, and you just build. and you start with your goal. What are you trying to figure out? What do I need to do? And it just goes from there. Let's see. Thank you very much, Nico. All right. Well, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Please make sure you're hitting the Discord button, joining the Discord server, and asking any questions you need over there, and we will go from there. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.